Okay, so we're gonna try some new things. They actually have an app that I can connect my camera to my phone. So it's kind of hope that it lets me do some neat things. I'm hoping, will it let me zoom in? No. Okay, so we're still gonna have to play with that and see what we can figure out. But at least now I can turn it on and off without getting up and getting right up in my camera. So we're ready to actually start her. Had a really nice comment that suggested a sage green, which is going to be fun to try and create. I'm going more with, I think, a brownie type green for her. Mixing a few different colors in here to see what I can, if I can get the color I have in my head going. And I just realized I forgot to turn my screen around, so I can't see what you guys are seeing. So let me take a peek here. Okay. There we go. Now I can see you guys. It works. So I'm not going to go crazy calling out every product I use, but I will make sure I link in the comments because some of these brands have been really phenomenal so far. So what I did, I mixed 2 shades of green, a yellow ochre, and this is actually a little bit of gold. So let's see what kind of color we come up with here. If we need to add a little bit of anything to it. It's actually coming out in a really pretty color, but not quite as light as I was hoping. I might have to hop in my cabinet and grab a little extra coloring here. Actually, I think we might have the color. I think that's still a little bit army green. Let me climb in my paint cabinet and see what I have that's going to lighten that up just a little bit. This is going to be noisy, I do apologize. But the cabinets being repainted are actually older than I am. Easier answer is always reuse before you buy something new. We may have a little visitor. It looks like my cat decided that the door needs opened in here, which thankfully these paints are actually non-toxic for birds. They're low fumes. I can't say that about my primer, which is why I'm in a room that has a door that seals properly. This room was a late addition to the house. So it used to serve the purpose of a sunroom, I believe. And then it got turned into storage. And then we bought the house and could not figure out what to use this room for. I was originally going to use the garage for my room. Let me add a little bit of light here. Since the sun decided to go behind a cloud. And I think I've achieved the color I want to do. Gotta watch my time a little bit because I do have to work today. So let's see how she looks. I think it's a little darker green than I was originally intending, but I think it's actually going to end up really, really nice. The suggestion was made to go gold as detailing, and I've actually decided that I think these are going to be red, these nice little ribbons. But her base color is going to be this pretty green. If you follow my page, which hopefully a lot of you do, you've seen that I found a sister to this one, so she'll get the same treatment. Now that one does have a good sized crack that actually runs all the way through, so we'll go over a little bit of how to fix that. And I did have it pointed out to me. I kind of forgot to actually introduce myself the past couple of videos. My name's Jamie, obviously. If you found the page, you know that much. I'm in my 40s. This is currently a hobby, but something I'm hoping to turn into something a bit more. Somewhere down the road, I'd love to turn this into my actual career. It's expensive to start out in, but it is the most satisfying thing I know to do. And I think the more I'm painting this, the more I actually like this shade of green. It's more almost an army green than the sage that I was originally intending, but that's the way it usually works out, isn't it? It's a little tricky with the rougher spots. You gotta make sure you don't leave little bits of white sticking out, because as it dries and soaks in, that kind of gets more and more obvious. She's definitely going to be pretty. I think we're trying to decide where in the yard these two are going to go. They're definitely going to be a showpiece in the yard. And I'm certainly leaning toward petunias because I think flowers just boiling over her will be absolutely gorgeous. And I've got where my other half works on vehicles. He has a whole bunch of tires that can't be reused. So I'm going to be repurposing those as planters as well. So if you guys want, we can actually do some videos as I start to structure the yard a little bit. Which it's a little too soon in the season to start planting just yet. So that's definitely in the future. But what do you guys think so far? I think that with little pops of gold, I think we'll do like these guys, these little ridges in gold, and maybe the bubbles under here, and I'm thinking the base. But the rest of her will be this lovely green, and I'm thinking a royal blue for her ribbon. And just make her stand out really nice and pretty. I am going to probably have to do a few videos of this process just because we don't want to go too long on any one video. I am definitely not a video editor, and I have not figured out how to put 2 videos together just yet. Hopefully if this starts to take off, I'll have the extra to hire someone to do my editing for me, but that's a ways down the road. I'm happy just to be able to play in my space and have a little company while I'm doing it for now. And I am using a smaller brush for this part just because I want to get into the little details. Priming, you can really just kind of brush over the whole thing and then come back and catch everything you missed. Once you're actually getting in the details, you want to aim for getting it right the first time. Especially when you're dealing with a paint you mix, because once you go in and mix that, it can be a really fun challenge to try and replicate the exact same color. But if you've never tried mixing your own paints, finding that color that you've got in your head, you definitely should. It will drive you absolutely bonkers, but it's so satisfying when you finally hit the color and you're like, yes, this is the color I wanted. It's just a good feeling all around. I've got a little crack right there. Not crack, but chipped spot that I'm trying to work around. On these two, I'm not going crazy fixing the chips and things like that because I think it actually adds to their class. I want to do some research and see what I can find out about what era these guys were from. See what we can learn about them. I know they're older. I've seen them around here and there, but not in enough places to be able to get a lot of history on them. But I think they're just such a pretty, simple design. And they look good in almost any style of garden, so it's not something you can really go wrong with. Another little chip there. Always wished that the antiques and stuff that I work on could talk. I'd love to hear their stories. And things they could tell you about their lives before you came into them. I guess it's kind of like old houses. It'd be awesome if walls could talk. But I think there's something really satisfying in just giving them a makeover, trying to bring them back to their old glory a little bit. I'm not just stopping at the let's paint it white and call it fixed. Painting it white gives you a nice, easy palette to work with, though. Or canvas would be, I think, more accurate. But I think she is going to be quite pretty in this color. Now, if you guys want me to keep doing these, I would love to see a little bit more response. A little bit here. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Leave me comments. Tell me what you'd like to see. Tell me if you feel like something isn't quite right. Or especially, I'd love to hear if you know something about a project that I'm working on that I might not know. I would love to hear it. I'm going to go for my 2 minutes of cheese here and say, you know, if you like me doing these, please like, subscribe. Basically tell me there are people out there watching. This is definitely something I'd like to keep doing. I enjoy being able to share my passions with other people and maybe even inspire somebody to try something they wouldn't normally have thought of doing. Doesn't have to be restoring old yard art or statues or things like that. Could be painting, crocheting, sewing. I know some people that do some incredible photography. It's always good to have a hobby. And it's always good to share those hobbies with other people. So you'd be surprised what other people are waiting to share with you. She is just coming along nicely. And this is why I always suggest, even if you don't think it needs it, if you're doing something like this, always primer first. Because a lot of materials, especially things like concrete, will absorb a huge amount of your paint. If you have a good primer coat on there, or this one actually got 2. I just did a second coat really quick one day when I had a few extra minutes. That primer coat acts as a barrier so that your paint goes where you want it and not soaked up into the stone. My paint is running away from me here. I would love to hear if anybody has any questions or anything even just about me, about our crazy life here. We do have a lot of animals. Maybe I'll go through and do a little video with them one day and let you meet the menagerie. So we do have quite a collection. We have 2 green cheek conures, which we call Lulu and Sunny. And then we have our little old man cockatiel, who is 25 actually. He is named Sweetie Pie. Now, we did not name him. He's a little bit of a sad story. He belonged to the woman that originally owned this house, and he was a